How far can AI go in the recruitment industry? And at what point should it merge with human expertise? Hello and welcome to the Boostara podcast. I am your host, James. On the Boostara podcast, we speak to leaders in business and uncover the truths and insights from their amazing experiences. At Boostara, we help businesses boost growth, cut costs, and gain better business insights. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you, type the word growth into the comments below and I will be sure to reach out. Today, on this spooky week, I am very happy to announce we're joined by Joe Entwisle, founder at Air and director at Link. Hello and welcome, Joe.
Hi, James. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very, very welcome, Joe. And no one could really guess from your background because you're swimming in white. Where are you calling us from today, Joe?
I'm in Manchester, and it's actually quite sunny for a change today. But yeah, I'm in a very white office. But yeah, in sunny Manchester.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, for those of our listeners that are not familiar with yourself, not familiar with Air or Link, could you give us a little bit of an overview just about yourself and your journey to where you are today, Joe?
Absolutely. Well, I've been in recruitment around 15 years now. Started off with engineering, oil and gas recruitment, and sort of diversified and transferred across to tech recruitment when the oil price sort of dramatically crashed around 10 years ago now. So for the last sort of 2 years, I've been launching Air, and we are a tech-first, very tech-driven specialist agency looking after tech, data, AI, all those wonderful skill sets, mainly in Africa, a little bit in Europe, and a lot in the US as well. So that's just a small journey so far with Air over the last 2 years.
Brilliant. And what was the spark? Sorry, my voice is completely gone. What was the spark? I'm that shocked that my voice is gone. What was the spark for you in founding Air and taking on that journey?
Well, I worked for a business for 11 years. I actually lived in Cape Town for 7 years. So I helped launch that brand when it diversified across from oil and gas engineering into technology. And yeah, after 10 years, that Cape Town office sold, and I sort of left at that time and took the plunge to start my own business. And just always been immersed in technology, and sort of all my clients in South Africa just sort of continued and helped them. And yeah, I guess Air was quite an easy thing to start because I was just so immersed into that world.
And just, I mean, for clarity for myself and listeners, is Air, is it solving tech problems for recruitment companies, or it's recruitment of tech specialists within that space?
Yeah, it's recruitment of tech specialists. So we do a lot in fintech in South Africa, but we also launched an app, a web app, in the last couple of weeks, which is called Tap. Which is a talent acquisition platform. And this is referral and rewards driven. So you tap in referrals, you cash out rewards. That's the sort of slogan. And that's fully backed with AI and graph rag technology, which helps match up candidates. And it gives clients something extra, not just, going out and headhunting and finding skill sets for them, but also gives them an extra sort of aspect of using our technology.
So I mean, a little bit of a merge of the two, I suppose you could say, right? How have you seen? Because you said 10 years ago, was that right? You said you were involved with oil and gas recruitment, right? And then you've sort of bridged over into tech recruitment. How has the space changed? Over the years, and obviously we've had rapid development in AI technology, which we'll get more into in the next part of the discussion. But how has just the whole space in recruiting for tech engineers, how has that developed, changed over the years?
I mean, a lot has changed in such a short time. It's quite hard to think back. I guess when we first started, there was a lot of mobile developers, a lot of apps being created. So that was the sort of buzzword at the time. Software developers, obviously always been niche, always been quite hard to find. So nothing has really changed there. But it does come in waves. So one skill set will be sought after and everybody suddenly wants that skill set. So it seems to come in waves and in different patterns and circles. But someone said to me that, new tech starts in the US, moves to Europe, then finally find itself down in Africa. So it's quite easy to pick up on trends early and know what's going to happen in South Africa. So that's basically how I've been planning ahead and seeing those changes ahead of time, especially in the market we work most in.
Oh, and when you talk about trends moving continents, is that in terms of the types of positions that are needed, the types of firms that are hiring?
Yeah, definitely the types of positions, the types of skill sets. So it could be a new technology. I don't know. It could be Rust, or it could be, they could be using Golang, for example, in Europe, and then everyone wants a Golang dev, and then a year later, everyone wants a Golang dev in South Africa. So that's the sort of trend that I'm talking about. Really, is mainly the skill sets.
And has that become more challenging? I suppose as more advanced technology has come out and is needed, the more technical specialists are needed. Do we have the supply of these technical specialists to meet the demand? Because it seems everyone is developing an app, everyone is developing some sort of AI technology and tool. And I was only speaking to a SaaS owner the other day who was asking me, well, we want to do this with our platform, but we don't have the technical expertise for it. Do you know anyone? I don't know anyone. I should probably bring them across to yourself.
Yeah.
But is there that supply? Is it meeting the demand?
I think the biggest thing to talk about there is actually post-COVID with remote working. So the pros and cons of being able to find people all around the world. You have access to more talent, but the issue then is, just using South Africa for example, again, you have the US and the European companies that come in, they can pay more money and sort of sweep up that talent. So that makes the talent even more niche in those areas, and it pushes up the salaries as well. So it's a bit of a catch-22 when it comes to finding that niche talent and opening up to remote working.
Yeah, and I guess there's a lot of hotspots in terms of where companies can find their labor, right? I think East Africa is one particular hotspot. Philippines is another hotspot, and those hotspots are kind of opening up everywhere. People, especially within the AI space, that the technical expertise is just accelerating, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Eastern Europe's also quite a good hotspot. Lots of talent there, contracting into places like the Middle East. We had quite a big project for an Abu Dhabi-based company who hired quite extensively across Eastern Europe. And I believe there was a trial into Estonia as well. I believe they really ramped up with AI and technology as a country. So to see the impacts that's had on countries like Estonia is also quite interesting to look at.
Yeah, very interesting. And just as a bit of a comparison, how would you see the challenges that you face within this particular niche of recruitment? How does it differ to others on a sort of broader level?
Well, if I were to bring in Link, for example, the other business that you mentioned that I'm director of, they're focused more on renewable energy and engineering's, aspect, which it's very busy and there's more candidates, but then you're very project driven. I think it's much different in technology. Maybe you could be ramping up your tech, or you could be, going through a transformation project, but finding that niche talent and going after that talent, it's still a very candidate driven market.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, I mean, in terms of the kind of misconceptions that companies might have when they come specifically, to yourself, Joe, what are those kinds of misconceptions? Because I guess just from my very basic understanding of tech expertise, especially within the AI space, I think, well, you can go on online PH, you can go on Fiverr. There's all these different platforms you can go, and you can just find yourself. You can find that expertise. Why
Yeah.
should companies go through, to you at Air rather than just go to those online platforms that are already there?
Well, I guess it's being within that network and speaking to those people day in, day out. You pick up on who are the best people, which is
Mm,
again why we launched TAP is referrals are your best friend. Your network, without being cliche, is your net worth. So having access to that, knowing who the best people are, and being able to interview and qualify them ahead of time, rather than go to a place like Fiverr, which, just from my experience, I've not had the best the best experiences on platforms like that.
right.
Not to say that there aren't good people on there, I'm sure there are. But I think, if you want to go after an AI engineer who's working for one of the best tech companies in South Africa, then they're not going to be on Fiverr. So you'd have to go and find those people and, sell the opportunity to them and being able to present them to your client.
Yeah, yeah, and really, I guess the platforms are there across every industry, right? Companies can go and find talent themselves, but then also um, suffer the potential
Yeah,
drawbacks of hiring by themselves and
yeah,
not appropriately vetting the candidates, right?
yeah.
Across every single industry. I mean, are there any kinds of success stories that you could share, Joe, from clients or candidates that have gone through the kind of the process with yourself?
I think AI at the moment, just AI engineers, is so sought after. I think there's a lot of buzzwords. There's a lot of people saying that AI engineers, when you dig a bit deeper, they're not actually, doing what they say they're doing. So I think being able to find those people. So we have a client at the moment that's given us quite a big project. They're building out a new AI team. They're building an investment platform. Understanding exactly what they need and what technologies they need.
Mm,
Is it an LLM engineer or is it digging deeper than that? So it's just finding out exactly what specific skill sets they need to create their platform, and then going out and finding those people. So we've been quite successful in doing that. I think we had 5 interviews this week for that client. So it's just figuring out, what's working for them and aligning with the client's needs.
yeah, yeah. I suppose it goes down to the basic core of recruiting is problem, source, match, right? The
Yeah.
problem,
Think,
source, match, repeat, right?
I think,
If you can do that right, then you're
yeah,
doing something well.
I think just with AI, obviously the buzzword at the moment, but a lot of companies are using AI to create their job descriptions. Where, you know, a few years back before AI was doing that, it would have you would know a job spec came from HR, but it came from the hiring manager, and now you know if a job spec is coming from AI. So if that's not coming direct from the hiring manager, then it's it's not very accurate in my opinion. So you still, when you take on a job, when you qualify that job with the hiring manager, obviously you're digging deep in exactly what that person needs, to create your own job description, in a sense. So if AI is creating that, um, these public LLM like ChatGPT, etc., they're creating so many job descriptions that are all the same.
Mm,
Um, it's not actually finding out exactly what that company and what that team and what that hiring manager needs.
Kind of digging into AI there, because on your company description, um, it feels like there's a lot within the company that obviously you hire AI technicians. It's your tech space, right? That you or technology more broadly. But I'm curious, kind of within Air, like how much of your processes, your kind of company operations is AI and how much isn't? If to
Yeah.
go back to that original hook.
Well, for us, although we are AI supported, but human powered, so that's what we want to portray because, I feel recruitment is about the people. It is about the human connection. I don't think you can take that away, and that's what makes recruitment what it is. So we're very careful not to portray ourselves as absolute AI driven and tech driven, because we are supporting our business and supporting the people who work here with AI, and
Mhm.
that comes from automating those tasks that are very mundane and that you don't want to do, and something that isn't going to affect the quality of that task, whether it's arranging interviews or um, your CRM system, just automating applicant tracking, nothing that can get in the way, mainly the administrative tasks. But I think what's important is actually, you know, listing what your weaknesses are, as being able to identify them as a recruitment consultant, listing
Uh,
your strengths. How can AI make your weaknesses better? And how can AI make your strengths even stronger? So that's what we've tried to identify as a business. Um, and I guess the biggest thing we use AI for, again, it's for our talent acquisition platform, and that's graph rag technology, which means it's not an LLM. It uses only the data in our database. So
mhm.
it'll go and retrieve, I think, yeah, it goes and retrieves the data based on our questions, and it can give reasoning, and then you can discuss the reasoning with that agent to then educate it. So that's what I'm saying about the job descriptions. We can input all the hiring manager's notes and details. So AI isn't just looking at a job description, it's looking at all that information and feedback to come up with something that's far more accurate than, an applicant tracking system saying this candidate is a 32% match to this job description that was written by AI. It's not really, not
Yeah.
going to really make an impact in how you perform as a business.
Where does it stop in your mind, or within your operations, when you look at the sort of the human expertise of the human connection?
Hmm. I think for us, it stops at outreach. We don't use AI for outreach. I think 2025 has been AI outreach companies using AI outreach to sell AI outreach. And my junk folder in my email is about 30 a day of the same sort of messages. So
Uh,
if something is written by AI, I don't read it. I do delete it.
yeah.
So I think maintaining that human aspect and that human connection with the outreach, making it personable, is what's going to separate good recruitment companies from the ones who are just relying fully on AI and automation.
That is interesting, yeah, because I'm sure nearly every listener will um, empathize with the 20, 30 messages in their inbox, 20, 30 LinkedIn messages
Yeah,
asking, oh, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this,
yeah,
delete, 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 delete.
yeah.
I guess because it's become so mainstream and it is huge, huge business. I mean, instantly from where a lot of outreach messages get pumped out from. It's a $1 billion company now. It's absolutely massive. I guess if you're not using that as outreach, then how do you scale when everyone else is? Or where is that line, do you think?
I think it has to come full circle at some point. I think you just have to it's more target driven, it's more accurate. And if something's more target driven, more accurate, your results are probably going to be better as well.
Mm.
So I think, I mean, AI outreach is not really new. There was always mass mailing and mass marketing campaigns. The issue now is they all look the same and they all feel the same and read the same. So I think that's the issue. But at some point, people are going to have to, stop hiding behind messages and AI and get back on the phone and start calling people. Um, and I think that's what going to separate the people from the AI companies is getting back on the phone, human connection, and direct messages that are personal.
Yeah, 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 absolutely, yeah. And do you think, in terms of I would say it's obvious, but I'm intrigued to know what you think. Like the decision making on candidates, which candidates you choose, that has to come from people, right? That always has to be. You can data drive the, as you say, from the interviews, the note takers, all of the different systems that you'll use to determine whether this is the best candidate, the best fitting candidate amongst the pool that you've collated. But
Yeah,
the decision still has to come from a human, right?
yeah. You have to be careful because if you're, like I mentioned, if you're using a CRM system that is only picking up on your job descriptions and matching those candidates, it's just not accurate enough yet. The AI
Mm,
isn't good enough yet. So you're missing out on a lot of outstanding candidates. So you need to, understand how good your AI system is and then realize what percentage match is actually a good candidate, because it could be a 30% match as a good candidate. And if you're
mm,
excluding candidates that are less than 40%, then you're missing out on talent. So I think it's just finding that barrier. If you are going to use AI to, narrow down a huge pool of talent to something smaller, you need to figure out, how good the AI is. So for us as a business, obviously we're using, GraphRag, which I think is more accurate.
mm.
But at the end of the day, we're reviewing it. The human side comes in and we're figuring out which candidates are best, but your applications aren't going to bring those better candidates anyway. It's more your direct headhunting that's going after them and finding them.
Interesting. Yeah. You reminded me. So we had a company on a couple of months back, and he's integrated AI into all kind of areas of his operation. So from sourcing the candidates, passing off the information, creating Slack channels for each of his clients with real time like dashboard information. That's linked into all of his other kind of CRMs that he uses to show the client, okay, this is how many applications you've got coming through. This is how many have gone on to this stage, to this stage, to this stage. And his prediction was that the recruitment industry as a whole will shrink, because there'll be companies that take on AI technology, new technology, and will be able to operate faster, more efficiently. And there'll be those that don't, that will just lose the market share. I mean,
Yeah.
is that the way that you see things going?
Yes and no. I think if you automate something so much, I think you are going to miss out on talent. So I think there has to be that aspect of, obviously using it for research is a massive boost. Um, you know, coming up with some rough booleans maybe, and then being able to tweak them. But there are going to be people who get left behind, which I think is what this person's trying to say is, if you're not using AI or adopting AI, using it to some extent, um, whether how far you take that AI within your business processes or not, I think it is going to make it narrower and smaller.
Mm.
But it's just going to separate, the good from the bad, so to speak. And so maybe the
Yeah.
ones that would have fallen away anyway will probably fall away even quicker.
Yeah. I guess it's getting that balance between speed and accuracy. I think within
Yeah,
recruitment, right? So you've already alluded to the sort of accuracy side of things, and I guess if you're in recruitment, then you will have had it hammered in to you about bias and objectivity,
yeah,
subjectivity, and if you're using AI to a huge extent, just like what you said in terms of modeling out where candidates fit amongst each other, then there's still a level of bias, right?
yeah,
Within the tools, it's already been proven, ChatGPT has
yeah,
bias, right? In
yeah,
terms of racial, socioeconomic, gender, it's got all of those biases. But I guess if we have bias ourselves as well, subconscious bias, if something's working at speed the same, does that make it better or worse, or do you see where I'm going?
yeah. No, it's a good point. You have to remember everything's sort of taught, right? So AI is taught from our data sets and how we behave. And
Mm,
unfortunately, we also have biases. So AI is going to pick up on that.
yeah,
So unless you have your own private LLM systems that you are teaching and, um, that aren't open and aren't public, then
yeah,
you can't really improve that and narrow it down. But yeah, if something's working at such speed, it is probably going to miss out and become more biased.
yeah, exactly, right. And that's the danger, isn't it? Because you could work as a recruitment company at speed, but then have terrible results for your clients and your candidates. And
Yeah,
the crux of it, really, and we've had this conversation with so many others, is recruitment is extremely important and life changing. You place someone, they could be in that company for decades. It could be they could meet their partner at that company.
Yeah,
Their life can completely change, and it all comes from Joe Entwistle, doing the interview and placing them there and finding that match, right? So
yeah,
the work that recruiters do is extremely life changing and important. And forgetting that for the sake of just going really fast at it for poor results, that takes away the actual value of what recruitment provides,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
But at the same time, going at speed as a company and growing and developing into the future, that's quite alluring.
Yeah. No, it's you have to pick up on the facts of, the motivators of why people are leaving, that emotional connection, and why they're looking for work. You don't get that through technology.
Mm,
Um, it's like a lot of people using one-way interviews now, and a lot of candidates don't like it. They want to have that human connection, especially as a first interview. They don't want to be speaking to a camera or to an AI person.
mm,
So I guess it's just there's a fine line between speed and quality, and then getting those candidates on board and bought into your business, which I
mm,
don't think you can do unless you have that human connection.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Right. I'm going to ask you a question, Joe, that I ask pretty much everyone that comes on. So I'll give you a few moments to think about it. But essentially, if you could bring AI, automation, uh, better technology into the operations of air, that could just take away one part of your day to day, one part of your job, like, oh, that's off my plate, that's done. What would have the biggest impact if it was done well?
I'm sure this already exists and is out there. It's probably very expensive, but I guess to have because we're a small business, obviously wearing many hats, it'd be nice to have something wearing a lot of hats for me. So I guess an assistant that is doing all my invoices, is doing all my admin, is doing all my HR, is doing all those different things all in one.
Mm,
But again, it's how do you measure that and how do you keep the quality? So I
mm,
guess do we get to a point where we can have an AI person that is just fully built into your system doing all those tasks for you as one?
mm,
But like I said, I'm pretty sure that already exists, but up to what level?
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I could just do sales all day. That would be great if someone was looking after all the other tasks.
And do you know what, Joe? That sounds a little bit like a kind of a founder thing as well. It's like
Yeah,
you need more people or you need more help, but it's always hard to delegate that off and
yeah,
to cut the tasks off. What it's probably easier with a human being, right?
yeah,
Than in AI, but there's still that. I don't quite. I'm not quite ready yet. No, but you need
yeah.
to grow, right? Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't want to take, obviously, because we're small, a lot of people are in sales. You don't want to take time away from them doing sales either. So
Mm,
it's quite hard to balance that, definitely.
yeah. Very interesting. Well, I mean, going into the future, Joe. What's in the pipeline? What's coming up for yourself and
I think we're just head down now, see out the year. We're very busy at the moment. We have around 50 jobs that are live. So we're sourcing, we're getting good candidates out there. And then the reception to our tap platform has been pretty good, better than we expected. So how do we improve that? How do we add new features? There's lots of people giving feedback already. So, going into 2026, we'll probably look at a feature upgrade in there and just seeing how we can advance that platform. Maybe bring in even more AI, make it more gamified. But yeah, that's us for the next sort of 3 to 6 months.
brilliant. And I guess who that might be watching. Who is an ideal client or an ideal candidate. To reach out to you.
Yeah, okay, if you have funding, you're scaling, you're looking for tech talent, AI talent, whether it's contract based or permanent hires, then yeah, reach out to us. We can assist. Whether you're in South Africa, US, UK, the Middle East, yeah, we can help you. Um, yeah, reach out, have a chat, and then we can see how we can assist.
Brilliant, brilliant. What are the best contact details to get you on, Joe?
I'm at joe@airtalent.co.uk. Yeah, reach out. There's a booking link. Or my LinkedIn. You can see my name. I'm sure you can reach out on LinkedIn. There's a scheduler on there. You can book an appointment anytime.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'll put those details below for anyone that wishes to reach out. And I would say definitely, is something I didn't really think about before this conversation, but I think it is a standout. Is yes, there's platforms like Fiverr, like Online PH that you can go and find talent on. But if you want to make sure that you're finding the absolute best talent, the right fit for your company, especially you are serious about growth, you're serious about the reputation of your company, then you need to be reaching out to Joe to find that vetted, a high level talent. I think that's something that I've definitely taken from today, and I'm going to be wary of for the people that I meet within the the SaaS and tech world. But Joe, in summary of the conversation, I would say a few things. One is that tech recruitment is massively expanding. It doesn't take a genius to work that out. You only have to look online, watch TV to see,
Yeah,
how much the industry, whether it's AI or just tech in general, is just exploding. However, the tech world, tech recruitment is still subject to a lot of the trends that the other sectors are experiencing. But
yeah,
as you said, very interesting, I think, is you can see the trends shift from continent to continent to continent, so you can kind of guess what's coming
what's
in
coming?
advance. It
Yeah,
usually starts with the States. That's the leader.
yeah,
I would also say, when you're looking at AI within, your own company, it's watching out for bias. It's watching out for that human connection. And human connection, especially, it's something we've repeated time and time again on the podcast. It's something that
yeah,
can't really be replicated and probably won't ever be replicated. People will always need that level of human connection, whether it's client to recruiter, candidate
yeah,
to recruiter. It's the whole basis of trust.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
lastly, just echoing what I literally just said, about finding the right expertise, the right vetted expertise. Yes, lots of online platforms, and there's only going to be more probably that will pop up over the coming years. But finding vetted, you know, culturally fitting, appropriate, for the company. That's
Yeah,
something you get from using a company like a recruitment service, the likes of what you're providing, Joe.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I'd agree with that. You have to figure out what's right for your business at the end of the day, and align that with finding the right person that is with that technology as well. Don't just
Mhm.
buy into a product, buy into the person that's alongside that product.
Yeah,
So I think that's a takeaway. It's worth mentioning as well. I hadn't actually spoken about this. I do have a newsletter on LinkedIn called Airwaves, and this sort of links AI with talent, and it's out once a week. So there may be some tips on there. You did mention bias that has been covered before as well. So it might be worth just, if people want to subscribe, there is a newsletter that hits that inbox every week.
brilliant, brilliant. I'll put a link to that down below as well. But
Perfect.
absolutely fantastic having you
Thanks,
on, Joe. An
James.
absolute pleasure.
No, cheers. Thanks a lot for having me. It's been a good chat. And yeah, good luck to everyone out there who's using AI, adopting AI, and they're looking to hire.
Brilliant, brilliant. And thank you everyone for listening. Please like and share this video so we can get this message out to as many people as possible. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.